Hello, everybody. Um, my time in Costa Rica has come to an end. Uh, so I thought I would do a little video, give a rating of Manuel Antonio, Quepos, Costa Rica. I was there for 5.5 months. So this is just my rating. People might rate it differently, but I'll try to explain everything as I go along and why I gave it a certain rating. So why don't we begin? So the first thing I want to touch on is weather. Weather in Manuel Quepos, it's hot and humid. Just keep that in mind. Coastal regions are going to be hot and humid. Throughout Costa Rica, there's different climates. If you get up in the rainforest or get up in the mountains a little bit, it's going to be cooler. Quepos, Manuel Antonio is just hot and humid. During the rainy season, it rains a lot. I got there in November and it was raining a lot, and things just got covered in mold and mildew, including my US dollar bills, my passport, my luggage, backpack. So just keep that in mind. Things get mildewy. I started storing my dollars and my passport in the refrigerator just to try to cut down on some of that. Once it starts drying out, rainy season lasted a little longer this year, but once it starts drying out, I would wash clothes and then hang them up on the balcony, and they would dry, maybe 4 or 5 hours. During the rainy season, you have to put things in a dryer. If you try to dry them out, on the balcony, they just don't dry out. They just stay moist all the time. So just keep that in mind. If you're renting a place, you might want to get a dryer with it. During the dry season, not a problem, but during the rainy season, it can be a problem. Temperatures are going to be hot and humid. There's that time between the rainy season and the dry season where the temperature is a little more milder in the mid 80s. Same between the dry season and the wet season, and the temperatures might be in the mid 80s, but you can expect some temperatures be in the high 80s and some high humidity as well. Um, People don't run air conditioners all the time. Usually, air conditioners are in bedrooms and not in living room spaces. So just keep that in mind. It can be very expensive to run air conditioning as well. Weather-wise, because of the heavy rainy season, the heat, the humidity, I gave it a score of 3. So it's about average, a little higher than average. If you like hot and humid, it's a good place to be. Next thing is nature. Costa Rica is known for its nature. It's tons of jungle, beaches. So yeah, nature is great. You can go anywhere and uh, just be surrounded by it. The place I rented was kind of in a jungle setting, so had a lot of greenery, a lot of animals around. So, yeah, nature is what Costa Rica is known for. So, if you want to just go and enjoy nature, it's a great place to be. And I gave Costa Rica, Cape Manuel Antonio a 5 for nature. It's just spectacular. Flowers, greenery. So, I really enjoyed that aspect of Costa Rica. Next is hiking. One of the things I like to do is hike. There are some good hiking trails around there. Keep in mind, Manuel Antonio and Capos, you're going to go up and down, up and down. So if you don't like to hike up hills, it's hiking's not going to be great for you. But there are some great hiking through the jungle and along the coastline. So I really enjoyed some really nice hikes. Sometimes you're the only one on the trails, which is nice too. So yeah, there's different hiking trails throughout. You can go elsewhere through Costa Rica. There's hiking. There's actually a trail that goes from the Caribbean coast to the Pacific coast. I met some people from Switzerland that did that. They said they were hiking for 3 weeks. So if you want to take a nice long hike, 3 week hike, you can go from coast to coast. But hiking is definitely high um, big activity for people in Costa Rica, or if you're just visiting Costa Rica. Um, I gave hiking a four, so there are it could be more. Uh, in Quepos Manuel Antonio, keep in mind this is just I'm rating Quepos Manuel Antonio, but the hiking that is there is really good. The hiking trails are identified with like a pink ribbon. So if you see a pink ribbon, that's usually a hiking trail, and you can just follow the ribbon, and it'll take you um, to a beach or to a waterfall or someplace. There might be some side trails from the main trail that might take you to an overlook. Those usually are not identified with a pink ribbon, so just be careful. Next thing, beaches and water. Great beaches. There's the main big beach there that starts down at Manuel Antonio at the end of the bus route and goes north for quite a distance. Down by the Manuel Antonio area, very busy, but as you go more north, it gets a lot quieter. And it's the northern part of the beach too is more LGBT community that goes up there. Um, but it's a very quiet area, especially on a weekday. You go up there and there's maybe 10 people up there. So you just sit underneath a tree. Make sure you look up and you're not sitting underneath a coconut tree. You don't want that falling on your head. Um, so keep that in mind that those beaches are great. There's other littler beaches. My favorite beach was Playa La Mancha. It's a hike to get to. You can't take a car down there. Some people take their motorcycles down there. I had to help some guy get his motorcycle back up the hill one day because he was having problems. But it's a hike down there. There's a Once you get to the bottom of the trail to get down to the beach, there's another trail that has ropes that you can hang on to as you go down. But once you're down there, there's barely anybody there. It's more of a black sand beach. Um, Fantastic beach. A couple times I was there all by myself. There's some snorkeling that you can do out if you go out a little bit. So keep that in mind too. High tide, there's not going to be much of a beach. Low tide, there's a ton of beach, and it's a lot easier to get out to the snorkeling areas. The bigger beaches all have lifeguards. The small beaches like Matcha, no, there's nobody there, so you're swimming at your own risk. Um, the larger beaches also have signs of where you can swim or where you can't. There are rip tides, especially in the larger beaches. So keep that in mind as well. But great beaches, had a great time just going and relaxing at the beaches. Beaches, I give them 4.5. They're nice. Find a quiet one great. Um, so just enjoy them. Next thing, scuba diving. It's not known for scuba diving in Costa Rica. There's some areas right off of Quepos, Manuel Antonio that has some scuba diving. Uh, Parts of the year are better during the rainy season. You don't want to go scuba diving. Visibility is going to be terrible. We went, I think it was uh, probably March maybe that we went, or February, end of February, early March. Visibility was okay, not the best. I did another scuba trip down to Cano Island. Um, it was about 2.5 hours, 2 hours to get there to the boat, and then you take the river out to the ocean, out to the island. It's a little more expensive. I think they're running like 225 bucks for a two tank dive. We found an outfit out of San Jose. He comes like once a month to do it, and he was a three tank dive. Um, Cano Island, great diving. The Mainly because of the marine life. Marine life was spectacular there. Visibility was okay, could have been better, but the marine life made up for it, and it was great diving. Scuba, I just gave it a two, mainly because the diving in Manuel Antonio area isn't that great Volcano Island, which is really good. It can be a little expensive, and you need to get transport down there to get on a boat. So yeah, uh, two I think is a good score for scuba diving. There is a marine conservation uh, group there too, organization that uh, runs out of the scuba shop there in Quepos. And they do some coral restoration, so you can volunteer with them if you want to do that as well. But just keep in mind, scuba isn't the best thing if you want someplace that you want to scuba dive a lot. Uh, Conyo Island, I would scuba dive that all the time. There's some current, but like I said, it's can be expensive and it takes a little while to get to. Activities, other activities besides uh, hiking, beaches, uh, and scuba. There are a few activities in Caples. If you surf or if you want to take surfing lessons, that'd be great. There is an expat group there that has a WhatsApp, and they do some different activities throughout the week. So they usually have a luncheon every week. They might, I think, like every Friday morning, they do a swim out to one of the rock formations and back. Um, Trivia night on Thursdays. So there are some different activities that you can do. I'm a pickleball player, try to find pickleball. As it's starting to get established there, it hasn't yet. So I was recruited to do some instruction while I was there, which is great. But if you're a more competitive pickleball player, it's going to be hard to find that in Manuel Antonio Campos. They are building some courts, so they are in the process of, trying to step it up a little bit. There are some private courts that people are building on their sites too. So if you know those people, you can get into that. But Manuel Antonio Capos is more of a hiking, beach, nature area. So if you want some of these other activities that you're hoping for, you might not get it there. I gave it a two for other activities. Um, I should probably give it maybe a 2.5 because the expat group there is pretty strong. It's not a big group, but they are pretty strong and they do activities. Next thing is culture. Not a whole lot. Uh, if you want a museum, tough. If you want to see native people in native dress, uh, not going to happen. If you want to see native dances, not going to happen. Culture is just not known for culture. I don't think Costa Rica in general is known for a lot of culture. There are some indigenous groups up in the mountains a little bit that might have some activities going on that you might have to travel to. Um, but yeah, as I was there, I was craving more culture. I am now in Antigua, Guatemala, and it's just night and day between the two places. Similar in size, I think. Quepos, population-wise, is very similar to Antigua, and it's just kind of like night and day, the energy and the culture and stuff. So culture in Antonio, I just gave it a 1.5. There might be some little pockets here and there. You just don't see a whole lot of it. People. People are great. I love the people in Manuel Antonio. And Capos, the farmers market. You go down to the farmers market, they say hi to you. There's a woman selling jewelry. She'd always say hi to me, come up and kiss me on the cheek. There's the vendors. They get to know you. They know what you want. Um, you know, so yeah, the people are great. The bus driver, whenever he saw me walking, in the opposite direction, he would always slow down and wave to me and honk at me. So yeah, they get to know you, and they're just really friendly people. I enjoyed the people there. The expat community was good. The locals are great. So yeah, the people I is one of the highlights of my time there in Costa Rica. And I gave them a 4.5 on people. You might see occasionally somebody a little colder. Uh, um, Sometimes the expats can be a little obnoxious. Sometimes, depending on where you are, restaurants or whatever, you might hear somebody or people that are on vacation, um, that just don't know what the culture or the uh, how to behave sometimes. A house renting behind mine, it was a big house, and sometimes people renting there. I'm like, what are they doing? Why are they so loud? So, but the locals are fantastic. And the local, I think, expat community is a great community too. Accessibility, not the most accessible place. You're If you're wanting to walk, there's a lot of hills. You're going up and down, up and down. So keep that in mind. Down in Quepos, it's flat. The sidewalks are fairly narrow, and the gutters are very deep. So if you fall off and fall into a gutter, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to hurt. Um, so it might not be the most accessible place. They do have Uber, so you can get around by Uber. It's fairly inexpensive, but the Uber drivers stop at like 5 o'clock. You're like, okay, we're done. Taxis, you can, if you're at a restaurant, you can always have the restaurant call them a taxi. They will get the taxi number for you. So you don't just pick any taxi, wait for the taxi with a license plate number that matches what they told you it will be to take you someplace. We also have the bus system that goes from downtown Capos to Manuel Antonio to the end there. And that's about 70, 75 cents. The price fluctuates depending on how much the gas is. So when I first got there, it was 380 colones. Now it's 370 colones. So it went down a little bit because gas is cheaper. Uh, so it's not always a set price. There's always a sign on front of the bus that tells you what the price is. They also have a collectivo system. So if you're on the main road where the bus goes, and you might see a car coming, it might flash their lights, it might do a little honk, and they're basically a collectivo. And they'll pick you up and they'll take you into Quepos, or they'll take you to Manuel Antonio or drop you off anywhere on the main road. They're not going to go to your house or your hotel, but anywhere on the main road close by. And that's about 700 kilometers. So not much, double what the bus would be. But yeah, you can always grab a collectivo. They're kind of fun. Uh, you just kind of get in, say hi, give them 700 colones, and they'll take you into Capos. Uh, so if you have mobility issues, it might be a good idea to rent a car, because even just getting down to the bus stop from my house, there's a hill, and the road isn't paved, and big rocks. And so keep that in mind. Some roads aren't paved, most of them are, but some of the side roads to your Airbnb or your hotel might not be. So if you have any mobility issues, I'd probably look at renting a car. I rented a car for a few days when my aunt and uncle were in town. Just got it from National there in Capos, San Antonio. It was a very fair price, I thought too. So gas is expensive though, so keep that in mind if you're doing a lot of driving. Put that in your budget as well. Accessibility, I give it 2.5. Like I said, if you have mobility issues, it could be difficult, but you can get around in certain ways: taxis, Ubers, colectivos, buses, etc. Forgot to mention too, there's also a bus system that goes to the other towns around there, um, fairly cheap. We took a bus down to Ubita one time or one day. It was 2 hour trip, hour 45 minutes on the bus, and I think it was $5 each. A friend of mine and I went down there. If you go to Dominica, it'll be cheaper. It depends on how far you go. But there's a bus system that goes to all the other towns. There's a bus system that'll take you to San Jose Airport. Make sure you get on the right bus. That doesn't. There's like an express bus and then there's non-express bus. So you want to make sure you get on the right bus. Talk to the locals, talk to the expat community there, and they will help you. There's no problem with people helping you. Safety, I didn't have any problems. You hear stories. So keep that in mind that you do hear stories about people getting taken advantage of or robbed or whatever. I never had a problem. Under safety too, I want to put like if you're out walking, there's no sidewalks. There's some sidewalks occasionally in Manuel Antonio area. Um, but there'll be a sidewalk, then it just stops, and then you walk for a while, and then there's another sidewalk. So safety from that aspect too isn't necessarily the best. But for the most part, it's a pretty safe environment. You do hear stories. You do have some of the homeless population in downtown Quepos that might harass you a little bit. You might hear stories about them as well. Um, but just keep in mind, just be sensible like you are any place else. And also, if you're walking in Manuel Antonio, I would cross the street a lot of times because sometimes the sidewalk might be on this side, sometimes the sidewalk might be on the other side. So you might have to cross the street to be on the sidewalk, or there's no sidewalk. Or you might just have to step off to the side if a car is coming. So just be aware of that as well. Um, so safety, I gave it a three. Um, so, like I said, I didn't have any problems. I've heard other people having problems, but also keep in mind that, the accessibility and stuff can not necessarily be the safest place. Affordability, uh, I didn't think it was any cheaper than Chicago, especially going out to eat. Uh, you know, Granted, if you want to eat at the sodas are like the little cafes that serve um, more traditional food, casados, uh, rice and beans with like pork. It might be a little cheaper. You want Thai food, Indian food, whatever it's going to cost you. Lunch at the falafel place, a falafel sandwich with a smoothie, it was going to cost me around $20 every time. Um, so again, it's not the cheapest. There's cheaper grocery stores like Polly, which is owned by Walmart. And then there's Mini Price, which is caters more to the gringo population. So that's going to be double anything that would cost you in the States. Like peanut butter cost you probably twice as much. Potato chips, if they're imported, going to cost you twice as much. So everything's going to cost a lot more. You can get by with, buying fruits and vegetables from the local stores. Farmers market, it's a little jacked up more in price at the farmers market. So it can get a little more expensive there. But if you go to Polly and get your pineapple, it's going to be a lot cheaper than even the farmers market. Um, so there are ways to do cheap, but if you don't want to live off of rice and beans and stuff like that all the time, it's going to cost you. Manuel Antonio too is also very much of a touristy area, so a lot of the activities are going to cost you more as well. So keep that in mind. Airbnbs, they can be costly. I was talking to a couple people that have them, and off season for their one bedroom. They had a view and a pool. They were charging like 3,000 a month around there for Airbnb. So things can get very pricey. Other parts of Costa Rica can be very pricey as well. Up on the peninsula, I heard it is very expensive. Manuel Antonio is very expensive. Um, so yeah, if you're a local, it can be a little cheaper. Since I was there long enough, I was considered a local. So if I went to a yoga class, it was half the price. It would cost me like $8. If I wasn't a local, it was like $15. Um, so local prices, the national park, you have to be a resident to get the cheaper price. I think it was what, $16 to get into the national park, 18 with taxes. So that all your food restaurants, they have a 10% tax and then a 13% service fee. So you don't necessarily need a tip, but your bill is going to come with an extra 23% on top of what it was. So keep that in mind as well. So it can be pricey there. I didn't think it was any cheaper than Chicago. Um, I can eat out half the price of Chicago for the same stuff as I would San Antonio. I did eat a lot more fruits and vegetables. I would just get at the farmers market or at the even the stores. Their fruits and vegetables can be inexpensive depending on what it is. If it's locally grown, if it's not locally grown, you're going to pay for it. So if you're craving mushrooms, you're going to pay for them. If you're craving blueberries, you're going to pay for it. So just keep that in mind. So affordability, I give it a one. I'm looking at comparing it to what I would be living off of in Chicago. And if it's comparable to Chicago, I'm going to give it a one. If it's cheaper, it'll be two. If it's really more cheaper, three, et cetera, et cetera. So I figure it's probably about the same that I spent there. So yeah. So all in all, total, I gave Manuel Antonio Quepos a three out of five. So um, yeah, a little bit above average. What is that? B minus, C plus around there. Some of the things that brought it down were scuba. If you're not a scuba diver, add some scores. If you want to just sit on the beach and do some hiking and not a whole lot else, activities, same with culture, might not be that important to you. These are the things that are a little more important to me. So speaking of how much I spent, let's look at how much I spent. So in December, I spent $2,181. So this included rent. It also included me taking some Spanish classes. Each one of the months, I took some Spanish classes. I don't think I put in here the cost of the flight to get there because I did that in November and I was only um, in Costa Rica for half a month. So I don't have the November prices down there. January 2,641. So it went up a little more. February 2,584, March 2,796. I did go to see a doctor in March, so that brought the price up. That was a couple $100 with some lab work and just going to the doctor. So if I didn't have that, it would be down to 2,500. April was pretty inexpensive for me, 2,157. Keep in mind, each one of these months I was taking Spanish classes, so that is included in this as well. Um, I think the most spent a month on Spanish classes was 270 280, taking Spanish classes at Spanish School Manuel Antonio with Rebecca and Daniel. They're great. Daniel was also my scuba buddy, so him and I went scuba diving a couple times. So average 2,471 and 80 cents. I don't know where that 80 cents came from, but yeah, so the average, I'm trying to keep everything under 2,500 a month. So I did that, which is good. Some places are going to be cheaper. Antigua here might be cheaper, but they have more vegan restaurants. So I've been here 3 days now and 4 days, and I've eaten at three of the vegan restaurants already. So I need to cut down on eating out all the time. So if you have any questions, just let me know. put a comment in and I'll try to answer the questions for you. I plan on doing these videos for each place that I go to. I'm here in Antigua for 4 weeks, so I'll do another one when I leave here. From here, I'm going to Merida, Mexico. Um, so I will be there for a month, and from there, I'm going over to Playa del Carmen, probably for 2 months, just because I want to get some scuba diving in. Um, Before I head to South America because there probably won't be any scuba diving in South America. So if I can get some scuba diving in before that, that'd be great. So thanks for listening. Just subscribe to my channel if you want more updates. So everybody have a great time. Hope this was informative. Thanks. Bye.